Well, hey everybody, this is Chris DeFurio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by La Marzocco. Amazing company. They've been making espresso machines by hand in Florence, Italy since 1927. That's almost 100 years of serving coffee retailers with innovation, quality, unprecedented reliability. La Marzocco can be found in some of the best coffee bars around the world because of that dependability and innovation. Examples like the KB90 espresso machine with the straight-in locking portafilters for ergonomics. It also has scales built in the drip tray for accuracy of extraction, the auto flush in the group heads for cleanliness and flow. So it's just one example of lots of machines La Marzocco has that suit your style of business, whether you're a cart, a trailer, a brick and mortar, a shared space, in a clothing store. I don't care what you are. La Marzocco has something that fits your needs. So go ahead and email info@lamarzocco.usa.com. And one of their salespeople will be happy to chat with you about coffee machines. And at the end, you'll end up with a piece of equipment that really serves you well and well into the future. So again, check them out. If you want quality, dependability, and innovation that benefits your company and really is the heartbeat of your store, I recommend the La Marzocco espresso machine. Check them out over at lamarzocco.usa.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Espressly, who is creating custom branded mobile apps for coffee shops, for people who want their customers to have an additional convenience option, but also don't want to sacrifice the experience. When a customer wants coffee, they open the app and your menu is there. Your colors, the feel, the design, it's wonderful. So it's a no-risk model with Espressly. There's no setup or development fees. You get a drive-through payment scanner, receipt and label printing capabilities. Data is stored in the app and also it integrates with lots of different processing systems. Of course, that includes Square. So it's a really great service and lots to love here. To have them get started on your app today, visit them at espressly.co. That's espressly.co. Okay, everybody. Well, today I wanted to talk to you about simplicity. And this is a topic we've brought up a couple of times on the show. And most recently, I think it was Fung Tran of Lava Java talking about simplicity in her own life as an operator. If you haven't listened to that episode, I would recommend doing so. But I was talking with a client the other day, and they're getting ready to set up their coffee shop, and we're going through the menu. We're talking about, like, what are we going to have on the menu? Because you can't really design a coffee bar without first designing your menu. And the menu is going to be a reflection of your values and what you want to be known for as a coffee bar. And the problem with this conversation, inevitably, is that there's always more ideas than there is space and time and all that stuff. So we have to think about what is truly at the core of who you are and what you want to do. Actually, how can you serve the most people with the fewest number of items? That's a good practice to think about, to constantly refine. Maybe you think about Marie Kondo and like, does this spark joy? Maybe that helps you. But really, when you walk into a coffee bar and there is just a glut of options, to me, now you may have just really mindfully and purposefully and even refined this process. You really chose to do this, to have 56 different kinds of syrups and combinations, and it sounds impressive, but to most people, it's just overwhelming. And I think any barista who's worked in an environment where there's too many options will agree it's just hard. It's hard to remember the recipes. And eventually what you get known for is complexity. You get known as that place that has all that stuff. But I'd rather have you get known for that place that has that thing than that place that has all that stuff. Right? You're a place that specializes in some, item or a few items that you do really well. And so if you can do that, I think you are better off because now you don't have as much inventory to worry about. You know that the things that you do use are going to be ordered more frequently because there's only a limited amount of items that you do have. So you're going to work through those things quicker. And you get more feedback and more meaningful feedback on a few items than you do on hundreds of items. And I'm being a little extreme there, but I do think that simplicity is a value when it comes to menu development. Now you can design your bar around this to produce this menu. And here's the framework that I want you to think about when it comes to simplicity. And simplicity, by the way, is not just for menus, it's also for systems. So if you want minimum viable systems, just call it MVS or something, but the checklist, the SOPs, and things like that, you don't have to have hundreds of those. You can have the key and core and kind of build from there. But starting simple is also a virtue when it comes to the rest of your business. So, but with the menu, I want you to think about categories of customers that you can serve through the items that you present on the bar. And what I mean is this. So let's break it down in terms of coffee, for example. You have people who just drink straight espresso, or coffee people. They don't put cream or sugar in it. They just drink it straight, and that's all they want. Now, there's other people that want it sweet. They want it really sweet. They want milk-based beverages and iced versions of milk-based beverages. Now, you've got two categories. But you could break that down a little bit further and say there's people who want consistency, and then there's people who want novelty. So what are you going to offer them that's unique to you, that's also novel? So maybe a house signature that is constant. It's year-round. It's just a thing that you've crafted and you're going to be known for. You specialize in this thing, right? Or a few things, maybe 2 or 3 different types of syrups that you make yourself, or combinations of ingredients or specialty beverages, just available year-round. Now also you have people who not only want novelty, but they want seasonal. Okay, so there's people that know that the changing of the season brings innovation in coffee bars. And a classic example of the PSL, don't hate it, don't be a hater. They taste delicious. You know they do. But that is just one example of lots of different seasonal beverage opportunities. And that represents a category of customer. You see what I'm getting at is that you can divide these categories into different camps and then say, what on our menu can serve this group of people that want these things? Now, I don't think you should make this infinitely divisible, right? You probably should stop at a certain point, because eventually that's going to lead back to square one, where just because one customer says they want sugar-free raspberry syrup, that you're just going to have it on the shelf and it's just for that one customer. You can't bear to take it away. Now, we have a shift break talking about this called how to eliminate items humanely. So maybe reference that item when you're doing this, but it speaks to simplicity by saying, yeah, there has to be limitations. And in simplicity is not something that's antithetical to serving your customers. It is actually reading between the lines. We're going to have a episode coming up pretty soon with Oscar Trimbley, who is the author of the book Deep Listening. And we had him on the show years ago. We're going to have him back to talk about a different aspect of listening. But part of listening is listening to what's being said but not said. So when a customer comes up, and I've experienced this many times, they say, I want a very specific drink. They just kind of say a drink that is a version of another company's drink. Could it be Starbucks, or it could be another competitor? But what I interpret that as is not so much that in their day need that specific drink, but they are in a category of customer that maybe wants a sweet, milky espresso drink. Now, when I interpret that and I read between the lines and I think, okay, what can I offer them that fits that description on our menu? Now I'm acting on their behalf. I'm taking what they've given me and I'm saying, I see what you're trying to get at here. I'm not going to force them to do the dance of exact language. I'm going to take my role as a provider of hospitality and anticipate, be preemptive, predictive, and I'm going to be a concierge, if you will, and say, it sounds like you want something like this, and offer them what we do have. Many times people have said, do you have sugar-free, fill in the blank syrup? And I said, well, we do have this option here. Will that be okay? Would you like to try that? And almost 100% of the time, there's no dejection. There's no forlorn look in the eyes. It's just, yeah, I'll have that. Now, why is that? Again, I think it's because people don't necessarily want to perform this ritual of exact language. They want you to offer them something that fits the category that they've kind of self-selected themselves into. And that might be a lot more general than you're thinking. And if you're not thinking that way, you're going to overcomplicate the process, and you're going to put the burden on them to be the chef and barista verbally. And that's a lot of pressure. That's why a lot of people just default to more simple beverages in the face of complex menus. So all of this to say, I think that the practice of simplicity is a practice of hospitality. Do it for the sake of your customers. Do this exercise with your menu today. I would love for you, again, to reference the episode about eliminating items humanely and take your menu and craft it in a simple way that produces excellence and pleases those categories of people that you serve in your bar daily. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that that's been helpful for you. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. Share these episodes with your friends, with your family, with the Verizon salesperson that might be knocking at your door soon. And I will see you here next week on another edition of Shift Break. From keys to the shop.